Hey guys, and welcome back to the Lewmaster channel, and today we're going to be looking at a certain auto rifle of exotic quality that has recently come back due to some little changes made by Bungie. See you after the intro. Anyhow, this brand new gun here, well, not necessarily new, it's from year 1 of Destiny 2, and even then it was back then in Destiny 2, Destiny 1, and I don't think it was a DLC weapon, so I think it was an OG from Destiny 1. It's called Hardlight, and any veteran knows that this weapon used to kick like a mule, but not necessarily in the most common way. I've examined it before on this channel on, I think, both games, but the one thing that is most prevalent about this gun over the ages is the screen shake. Every single time you fire this gun, every single bolt that comes out, it'll make the screen shake. Right now, since the update has come in, they decreased the actual screen shake to the point where it's actually bearable and you can actually use it for more competitive activities, well, somewhat competitive, like good old player versus player. Some people used player versus player back then, but it was mostly a joke weapon. It was mostly for a light show because the main intrinsic perk is the fact that it has ricochet rounds intrinsically. And because of that, it also has an extra thing that if the bullets ricochet off the walls, it does extra damage, which is pretty cool. And the next part of the perk set, if you're a good old new light player, then let's just say that it can be all three types of elements at a click of a button. Just hold down X, it can swap between Void, Solar, and Arc, which is very good for match game activities, although I'm not sure if I would recommend this weapon for those activities since it's not the highest DPS, but if you don't have anything with Osmosis or you don't really have a good set of weapons to go with your good old grenade abilities, then I guess maybe this might be a little bit of a compromise for shield breaking. You're gonna have to make up for DPS with a different weapon. But as for PvP, this thing is absolutely awesome. Like, and especially after the update, like beforehand, like I said, it was a bit of a meme, a joke weapon. But now since they decreased the recoil, you can actually get some pretty good kills. And here is me and footage of me using it in PvE, mostly for breaking shields and whatnot, and sometimes to delete some ads because this thing has a decently deep magazine of 49 rounds. Yeah, it's a lot to shoot. And one thing is for sure is that maybe you're going to run out of ammo a little bit quicker, but then again, it's an auto rifle. You're going to get a ton of ammo compared to, like, let's say a hand cannon or a scout. So, yeah, overall, Hardlight is back in a somewhat of a spotlight. Sure, it may not be meta, but it's still a fun weapon to go around, and if you have nothing else to use in a match game like setting, this thing might be pretty good. As well as the fact that if you have anything with an elemental burn, if you're doing like some strikes or whatnot, this thing can also have you covered since it can be all of them. And also a little side bonus for PvP, since it has the element thing and since the actual stability is actually bearable with less screen shake, you can shut down supers pretty easily. So just match the appropriate energy to the appropriate super. Like if they're using Arc Strider, go ahead Arc. If they're using hammers, go ahead hit Solar. If they're using like Nova Warp, go ahead and hit the Void. Like, obviously, it's probably not going to be good for stuff like Golden Gun or like stuff with instant activation, like Fist of Havoc and whatnot, because this thing doesn't output the best DPS. Like, it's an auto rifle. It's more on the relaxed time to kill side. So, I'd say this is mostly for a weapon for people that kind of know what they're doing. Like, this thing does not carry you by DPS alone. It carries you by well, matching enemy shields or enemy supers, and depending on what context, or by using those ricochet rounds to get a small bit of damage boost or to threaten an enemy around a corner, that type of thing. You know, the small little mind games, if you know what I mean. And I will say, overall, it's fun to use, especially with that good old stability buff. I'll see you guys in the next video that might be more sooner than you think.